Welcome back to the Broncos Avenue Podcast. I'm your host, Amir, with my co-host today, Jordan, and a very, very special guest. We have Denver Broncos wide receiver Tim Patrick on today's show. I've been really, really excited for this episode. Super excited to have you on today's show to talk all things Broncos, offseason, your rehab, everything that's going on with you right now, man. But, without further ado, how are you doing, Tim? It's great to have you on the show.
I'm good, man. Doing better now. It's been a long time coming to talk to you guys. I'm just happy to be here.
Yes, sir. Got that edit on Instagram. That was obviously I posted there, and a lot of people really like that. I'm glad to have you on the show now. Obviously, one of my favorite players, easily by far, and I know I could speak for Jordan at the same time. Definitely one of the best, offensive players on this team and players in general, and really excited to have you on today's show to talk all things Broncos. And first, just, for everyone out there, even if you're not a Broncos fan, Tim Patrick been in the NFL 6 years now, spent time with the Ravens, the Niners before signing with the Denver Broncos. My first thing I got to ask you today is, I've been seeing you in a lot of interviews, just the one thing that stands out is just how confident you are in your game and how confident you are in the fact that you're just virtually unguardable at the NFL level. What makes you so confident, specifically in your game, that makes you feel like when you're lining up across from a DB, whether he's playing on or pressing you, what makes you feel like every single play that you're going to be coming down with a catch?
Honestly, it's my mentality, the guys I've been in the room with as a receiver, and not having, I guess, the fans, the coaches, not all on your side. So you kind of got to be your number one supporter. Sometimes you got to say, good job, Tim. Hey, it was a good route, even when nobody else says it. So I kind of just built up that confidence when I felt like I was by myself out there. So now where I'm at a point where people show me love on their own, it's something that's always been there, just getting broadcasted now at this point.
Okay. Tim, obviously coming out of college and everything like that, you went undrafted. Can you kind of tell us, your story, your reaction to being undrafted, and then, your initial reaction to find out, that you were going to, become a Bronco?
I didn't think I was going to be undrafted. I know my chances were very slim just because I only played a few college games, but I felt like I'd done enough. My film was good, and then my pro day was great. So I thought I'll get a chance just because I was an athlete. Somebody felt like they could have done something with me. And once I did, then it hurt a little bit, but it was just my road. Nothing in my road has been easy, so I should have known it was going to come down to that. But you always got to have hope it's going to turn out different. And becoming a Bronco, it was amazing because it was my first time being on a team during the actual season and not just a training camp body. So it was exciting getting cut by them twice, getting brought back. It was just a huge eye opener, understanding the business of it when you're like a bottom of the roster guy. Understanding it's not always football that's going to get you cut. There's always somebody else could get injured, and they'll make you get cut because somebody else got injured. And it just made me understand the game a little bit more and understood that I needed to put myself in a situation where I'm not a guy getting cut off of for no reason. And that was just another thing I went into the offseason to work hard.
Yeah, one thing we kind of like to do on this show kind of moving forward is when we have players on here, we kind of like to talk more about, the person rather than the player all the time. I feel like the players, the person's more important, obviously you, Tim, what is kind of the reason that you play the game of football? What is kind of something that motivates you, fuels you to keep playing and, striving to be one of the greatest? And what kind of fuels that fire year in and year out? And what do you believe got you to where you are today?
Football's been the most consistent thing in my life, so it's given me a lot. It's given me the opportunity to take care of my family. It's given me the opportunity to be somewhat of a therapist for me when stuff isn't going right in the world. Man, I go on that field and I forget everything. I've been playing it for so long. My dad started me early, became a coach, so he could start me earlier than the age limit. So for a large part of my life, all I knew was football. So I think it's only right that I give everything I can to it because it's given me so much.
Okay. Yeah, Tim, kind of like what Amir said, me personally, I just really want to give you props. I think when you first got here, I think we still had DT, Emmanuel, and a lot of these guys, and you were kind of sitting at the bottom. I just want to give you props, because you did have to fight your way up, because those guys had won Super Bowls. They were considered one of the best duos ever. And you kind of just stepped in, when I think some of the guys got traded, and you just took advantage of your opportunity and you balled out, man. And it ended up giving you a contract and you're here long-term in Denver. So I just want to say, man, congrats on everything, man. Like I said, I love your game. I'm just,
appreciate
bro,
you,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a huge fan, bro. Like, it's crazy. Like, me and my brother, we always talk about Tim Patrick, and it sucked this year to see you go down and everything like that. I hope the rehab is going really well, and I can't wait to see you with Sean Payton and everybody.
No, that's love, man. I appreciate that. Injury happened. Everybody knows the season didn't go as we planned, but the injury for me happened at the perfect time. I ended up having a daughter this year, and I was able to really enjoy that. And you see, obviously, if I felt like if I was playing, the season wouldn't went the same way. But since I was hurt and the way the season went, man, all of it was a blessing in disguise. Always trying to find the good things out of bad situations, and there was multiple good things that have happened because of it. And I feel like I'm just going to become a better player because of it. So it's going to be a fun ride this year. I can promise you that.
For sure. That's the best mentality to have going forward. And I know Jordan mentioned a little bit about, DT, obviously one of the greats in Broncos history and someone you got to obviously play with there in the wide receiver room. Obviously you saw him get traded to Houston. That obviously wasn't, the move that we wanted as fans and as the players as well. And obviously, unfortunately for, all of the NFL world, he passed away, a few years ago. And obviously that Lions game, where you guys kind of commemorated and honored him was a beautiful thing to say. You don't really see that, very often. And I'm really happy that everything was done the way it was done. And obviously the way Courtland's son honored him was definitely emotional for all of Broncos country. What was it like, playing in that game and, kind of, just kind of honoring him? I know they had the 88 numbers on the sidelines as well, kind of honoring him. What was it like, honoring one of the guys that you could call one of your friends?
It was hard. Crazy thing is, I've had 2 family members pass away during right before games, and those were hard. But this was a different type of hard because it was a player. So like everything they did at the game was recognizing him. So when you think you have a break from not thinking about it and you could just focus on the game, you got highlights popping up every timeout break, and it's hard not to look at them. It was probably the hardest game I ever played, and it was very emotional. But it was also just seeing the love that the community gave, the team gave him was nice to see. But I was by far probably the hardest NFL game I played in.
Yeah, I'll speak for Amir too. I remember when it happened, man. It was just such a tragic thing, and I was gonna ask you the same question too. I'm just glad you guys went out there and got the win. But just I want to shift topic a little bit. Obviously it's a new coaching staff, new game plan for this season. Have you had a chance to meet any of the new coaches? And if you have, what's your whole take on this new coaching staff with Sean Payton?
Yeah, man. I'm rehabbing, so I've met pretty much everybody. And it's just it's a different feel, man. It's obviously it's a good feeling, but it's a sense of accountability is going to be held at a very high standard in the building now. You can feel that you're going to have to earn everything that you want, and that's what football is about, man. Just earning it. And obviously, Sean Payton was a big hire for us. He's one of the most winningest head coaches in NFL history. And he's done this before, and he's done it at a high level for many years. So we're kind of at the point now where it's like, all right, we got the quarterback, we got the head coach. Now everybody else got to get on board because there's nothing more we could do. So at this point, it's all on the players. And you got to enjoy that because they did everything for us to succeed. Now it's on us to play at the level that everybody expects us to play at.
That's facts.
Yeah. Obviously, you guys traded for Russell Wilson last year, and obviously things didn't really go how we wanted last year. But ultimately, there's a whole environment change for him. Obviously the whole coaching, thing that went on, and obviously the season just didn't go how the Broncos anticipated. And ultimately, there's going to be a new, direction that the franchise is heading in. A new culture essentially, and obviously, you being one of Russell Wilson's biggest targets in training camp and OTAs last year. What was that kind of like? I see on Twitter and Instagram, you guys have, it seems like you guys have developed a pretty strong, friendship, from a quarterback to a wide receiver. How has that like been, with him? And obviously, it was definitely very hard for you to see him constantly take hits over the course of the season as well from the media.
Yeah, it was. All right, you asked about 3 questions in that one. What else do you want me to answer?
I talk too much.
You good, bro.
So first, how is it like, playing with him and just being kind of like a friend to him?
It's different because you don't really meet people with the same mindset as you, and when you do, it's kind of weird because you always expect yourself to like be different in a way, and we're built the same way. So it was fun, man. It was everything he does, man. It makes you want to up your level. When you think you're doing enough, I promise you he's doing more than you. And he just makes you want to up your game. I know it didn't go as planned last year, but I think the only people that have luck like that is Tom Brady when everything just goes right the first year. So
Yeah.
So I think he needed this situation. I think our team needed this situation because we were very confident going into the year, and we had every reason to be. But it's good to get humbled and brought back down to reality, so you can really understand like it's not just going to happen. There's more things you got to do to make sure. If you really want to win, you got to take your game to the next level. And I think with the season we had, everybody understanding this off season, and I think everybody's going to come back with a fire under their ass. Can I cuss in this or what?
Yeah.
Sure. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Tim, after I think it was the 2021 season, I'm not gonna lie, that season you went crazy. You caught 86% of your contested targets downfield. You had the 3rd highest grade among wide receivers in man coverage, and you were the only wide receiver with 70 targets and 0 drops. Now,
I'm doing your homework.
Nah, bro. The crazy thing is, like, I made a video a few years back on my page, man, about some of the most underrated players in the league, and I put you at number 5. But I've always wanted to ask, what it's like for you to go out and just have a crazy season like that. You may not have the highest number of yards and stuff like that, but just a lot of people don't give you the recognition that you deserve. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Broncos fans do, but like outside the league, nobody really, knew you. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. This dude out here is having no drops, like 70, like all these targets with no drops.
Yeah, the crazy thing about that, people don't even know that I played with a sportsman here pretty much that whole year. So what you guys view as my best year, I view as I was playing hurt all year.
Wow.
It ended up getting surgery like a week after that season.
Wow.
Literally a week after. But honestly, I understand why I don't get the praise that other people do. The stats don't align. But also I was undrafted. They don't want to talk about an undrafted guy like that, especially if the stats don't line up with it. So at this point, I'm okay with it. The Broncos showed me by giving me a contract extension how important I was, and that's all I needed, man. And obviously, you want the world to know my game, but at this point, where I came from, I'm kind of used to it at this point, so I don't really care, man.
Okay.
Yeah, you always talk about, and I've heard you say multiple times that every year is a 1-year deal in the NFL, and I've never heard. Me personally, I haven't heard that from any NFL athlete, and I think that's something a lot of athletes should like live by and kind of use as I don't know their morals or what they should motivate them season in and out, because with that mentality, you can have more frequent success in the NFL. And I just like how, you brought that up in interviews and stuff. Can you kind of elaborate on that comment and how that kind of, fuels you year in and year out?
Well, when I first got to the Broncos, I was a team. Most of the guys were still part of the Super Bowl. Talib, Vaughn, Chris Harris, Emmanuel. And then we ended up getting, I think, Joe Flacco that next year or something like that. But I was around so many talented guys that have won at the highest level. And then most of them either get traded or cut. And I'm like some of these guys are going to go to the Hall of Fame and we're trading them away for a fourth round pick or a second round pick. A guy you don't know that's going to be good or not. And I'm just thinking in the back of my head, like, if they could trade that guy away, they could trade me away for nothing.
Yeah.
And it just made me realize, like, they're always looking for the best new talent. Like, and it just made me never want to be satisfied because my goal is to never be put in that situation. But in this business, it's more likely to happen. But I want to make sure I do everything possible to make sure that doesn't happen to me. And it's more out of fear, honestly, than anything. I think fear is what drives me. Fear of being average, fear of getting traded, fear of getting benched is what drives me to continue to work. So I'm never put in a situation where I'm in the situation from the guys from the past. And so that's all it is, man. I feel like that's what drives a lot of people is fear.
And it's kind of crazy though, because like Jeudy just had one of the best second half stretches of any wide receiver in the NFL,
Top 10.
and he's in the trade talks. That's really, really interesting to me.
If you want to ask that question, go on and ask it, man. Y'all ain't gotta be scared. I ain't gonna do no interview with nobody else, so you better ask.
I mean, look, I'll go ahead and ask you, man. You know, just for one, you know, regarding all the Jeudy stuff, you know, like. Is there any? I want to know, like, is there any like truth to it? You know, like how are guys reacting to the, you know, the rumors about him and Sutton being traded and everything like that? You know, what's everybody saying and feeling?
The crazy thing is we don't even really talk. We talked about it early, me and you, early into the off season. Like, but me and Court, we have such a different relationship where we don't even have to talk football, and that's where our relationship is. Obviously, there's probably some truth to it because that many rumors don't come out without no truth to it. Somebody put it out for a reason. But at the end of the day, like you said, Jeudy probably had that second half of the season. He played like a top 10 receiver.
He did.
It was one of the most impressive things I've seen in a while. And it was just something that we've seen already, but he just hasn't put it on the field. And he did it. So, like, to everybody that asked me this question, to me, he's the safest person in our receiver room because I think Jerry's like 24, maybe 24, 25.
That's what I've been saying.
Played like a top 10 receiver at the second half of the year. He still has 2 years of his rookie deal left. And there's just certain things that Jerry does that other people can't do. And you can't coach the stuff that he does.
Exactly.
So for him to be in the trade rumors, it was weird to see, but that just shows you how much of business it is. Because there's only about 3 Jerry Judys, people that run routes like Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, there's Calvin Ridley, and then there was Julio Jones about 3-4 years ago. Oof. They all run the same routes. So when you're in that category right there, it's hard to believe you want to trade it away. I know people talk about his catching and stuff like that, but nobody perfect. Everybody goes through a season with at least 1 or 2 drops. Yeah. It don't matter who you are. So for them using that is just an excuse.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand, man.
And then Courtland situation is just it's the same thing. It's a new coach. You never know what they want to do. You never know if they fit the scheme. And they might just put it out there to wake them up like, hey, you're not untouchable. And it could have just been like, you're not untouchable. You got this year to get this shit going. And I think it was a good thing, honestly, because everybody knows they're not safe, man. When you know you're not safe, man, you're gonna do whatever you can to make sure you are safe or as close to safe as you possibly can.
Okay.
So it sucked to see them in the rumors like that because that was weird, especially after the type of year they had. And And people don't realize we've had 3 or 4 different head coaches, probably 4 OCs,
Man.
and we still find a way to become relevant in this game with all that. So just we have stability now. Now you don't want to give us a chance. So it's just funny to me.
Okay.
Yeah, and your guy from Utah, Garett Bolles, we saw him too pop up in trade rumors a little bit. How is he kind of taking it? I assume that he's completely safe now though, but you never can say he's completely safe or anybody's safe.
My boy Garett, he crazy, so he was mad as hell, but he gets mad and he get mad in a way where it's like, watch what I do, watch what I fucking do this year, get all intense about it. So
I love that.
He's a different character, but he was definitely mad about it. But the Garett's the type to turn his anger into great play. Okay. So I'm excited to see what his crazy ass does this year.
Yeah, that's great. Nah, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you. Right, right now you've been with the Broncos a few years. What would you say is like your favorite moment on the Broncos? Like, your favorite, funniest moment on the Broncos?
Favorite moment on the Broncos? Favorite, funniest moment on the Broncos? I don't know, bro. There's too many. I'm not gonna lie. Every day walking into that locker room is a TV show. It is a TV show, man. Some of the stuff I could say, some of the stuff I can't. Mm-hmm. But like, I sound like one of those typical guys after they retire. Like, it's the locker room stuff that you remember and all that. But it's true because the conversations you have in those locker rooms is the conversations you can't have in public, and that's what you truly enjoy. But yeah, I'll probably just say the locker room. There's been some trips here and there that's been fun, but locker room is a show. There's no family, there's no girls around, and you just tell all your business and and everybody just make fun of you for doing it. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah, we need to get like a reality TV show for one of these locker rooms one of these days.
Nah, you see how Hard Knocks be going for people. They lose every time they get Hard Knocks.
Nah. Well, can you give me your favorite in-game moment?
In-game moment. Because
you didn't have some crazy ones.
I don't want to be typical and say the Cowboy game. That was huge. Yeah, I probably got to say the Cowboys game because it was a nationally televised game. My whole family was able to watch it. Most importantly, we got the win. But we got the win in a way where everybody had a good game in the receiving corps. I always just talk about the receiving corps. Like, we all played good, and they did everything that we're good at. And I think it was a Cowboys game because we all played good. Obviously, I had a good game. And we won, and it was just at the highest level, and it was just everything just went right that game. And it was one of the biggest moments of my career so far. So, yeah, that touchdown. Honestly, my favorite play of that game is that touchdown. It's that third down, like the 3rd and 8 play. And I made a guy miss, and I split them. That was my favorite play of the game.
I know exactly what play you're talking about. Yeah, I know exactly what play you're talking about. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, that Selly on Jordan's flag, that's the toughest thing I've seen from a wide receiver like ever. Like, bro, who's doing that?
I try not to get too disrespectful, but I try to go into the past and see what other guys have done against teams. And I just try to bring it back up. And T.O. did that. T.O. is a legend. We both had 81. I thought it was only right that I go to the start. Once we play there again, I might go to the middle of the field.
That was tough.
Nah, it was crazy, man. Because I remember going into the game, the hype, the hype was all on the Cowboys, and everybody's hyping up Diggs. I think Diggs was leading the league in interceptions at the time, and you came out there and hit him with the meanest double move, got him, and you caught it and you scored. And my mom and my sister are diehard Cowboys fans, so I'm just sitting there going crazy the whole time. I'm like, I'm screaming, I've been telling y'all about Tim Patrick, man. Like, it was crazy, man.
Yeah, Cowboy fans is crazy, man. I got it. Got so many DMs for them for like 6 months straight, man. Just talking crazy. Talking so crazy, but they're so reckless.
They're annoying.
It got to the point, I don't know if y'all noticed, I posted it, and I got so many DMs that I took it off my story.
Oh wow.
That's how many, like, bro, it's like over 100 plus DMs, bro. Just
Bro.
like, don't ever disrespect the star again, blah blah blah. Fuck you, all that, bro. I was like, whoa, y'all taking this a little bit too far. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this for y'all.
Yeah. Nah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you. Obviously, some people, have talked about how you are kind of one of those trash talkers in the Broncos wide receiver room. What are those rivalries like with the Raiders and Chiefs, and especially kind of the winning streaks that they have against us right now? What is kind of some things or any moments in particular that have kind of ticked you off or pissed you off at whether it's their fans or their players?
Yeah, the Chiefs. I don't like either of them. Honestly, they both do it in different ways. The Chiefs do it in a cocky way. They have every right to be cocky, but to be cocky and not good is like, it rubs me the wrong way. Then you try to throw in tough guy with it. It rubs me the wrong way.
So the
Raiders,
Raiders, yeah, I knew you were talking about the Raiders.
Just thinking about it just pissed me off. Honestly, how can I say this in a politically correct way? I'm not a fan of the Raiders. I'm not a fan of the Chiefs. Chiefs are cocky little shits. Raiders, it's a group of fake thugs. Bro. There's so much I could say, but I love playing against them because it just brings the best out of you. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna be a dogfight. And if you don't bring your lunch pail with you, you're gonna get ran over. Honestly, and they're fun games. They got their winning streak right now. We had our down years, but that shit over with.
He said the Raiders are a group of fake thugs. Mm-hmm. I love that, man. Mm-hmm. That's a great quote right there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get the best competition in those games. One of my last questions for you, this is something that really, really touched me. I know you were on like a few days ago. Steve Smith Sr., obviously someone that you seem to be good friends with, and you were on his podcast. Cut to it. You're basically just talking a lot about how much your grandmother meant to you and your journey towards your pro football career and how she was your rock and one of those main people who believe in you. Me personally, one of the only people that have believed in me in my life is my mother, and unfortunately she passed away in 2020, and that was around the time that I was kind of applying for colleges and trying to get into college and stuff, and for that to happen to me, it was like really is one of the down moments of my life, and to see you talk about that on that show was like really touching and inspiring, and just I don't know really how to put it into words. Like you don't really see this too many from athletes talking a lot about that, and just talking about how you didn't really talk to anybody. You were just kind of putting your head down, working. That's just kind of why I kind of like motto my life and everything I'm trying to do. Like right now I'm a writer for Predominantly Orange, and I'm just trying to make it the Broncos media and all that stuff, and you're bringing that up really did touch me, and I just want to kind of bring that to light here on the show.
Oh no, I appreciate that. Sorry for your loss, bro. I lost my dad in 2019, right before. So that definitely hits home. What was the question? First, me and Steve Smith, he went to Utah, so we got that relationship right there.
For sure. Yeah.
You want me to talk about my grandma? Is that what you want me to do?
I forgot the question, but just like I just kind of want to just like bring that up on the pod. Like you can talk about how kind of like, she was so much important to you in your journey to the NFL, and kind of like how you maybe play the game for her. Like how much is it, impacted, your game, whether it's on the field or off the field?
It's impacted everything, man. Like I said earlier, like sometimes you feel like you're out there by yourself. You're your number one fan. And during most of my life, my grandma was my number one fan. There was never, no, you can't do this, or no. It was always, oh, honey, that's great. Like, yeah, keep it going. Like, always positive words. And everything I do is for her, because there was a time people didn't think I was going to make it, but she did, and she always believed into the dream, and she invested in the dream. And it sucks that she can't enjoy where I'm at now, but I try to make sure every time I step on that field, I do something big enough so she could see.
Yeah, man, that's real too. On the topic, and same year, 2019. Man, 2019 was a really strange and I didn't like that year much. You know, I lost my uncle, my godfather. He was really like close. It was like my ride or die and stuff like that. And before he died, he kind of gave me some advice and some inspiration on how to move and everything like that. And I apply that to myself like every day, you know, making right decisions, staying locked in, staying focused on my dreams and want to do. You know, my dream is to be an analyst. I started a sports page about a year ago and stuff like that. So every day I thank him, and I try to move my life, everything for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, just apply myself. Just remember what he told me, basically stay locked in and stay on the right path. But yeah,
that's all you can do, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's not popping right now, but sooner or later it's gonna pop. And I see you guys. Y'all be having people on here. So you just gotta keep going. I promise you I'm not gonna do no more interviews with nobody else. So so y'all, I think y'all the first like outside Broncos source I've done an interview with. So
that's
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
that just shows how much work y'all been putting in, man. Definitely noticed. And obviously you guys made a fire highlight tape that was just probably the best one I've ever had.
Bro, so. I stood up till like 4:30 in the morning.
yeah. Hey, it wasn't we. Hey, that was all Amir. He did. Yeah, he did the Tim Patrick tape. Hey, but it was fire. Though. I give you that.
I appreciate that was love, man. So I had to show my respects by doing this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I only make those for the best players that we got. So respect to you.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, the craziest thing is when I first started, I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know how to do none of that. I was like, man, I'm just gonna go straight into it. And the first edit, Amir, I meant to send it to you so we could play it on the pod. The edit's terrible, by the way. It's not good at all. But the first edit I ever made was of you. Like, it was like, I can't remember what the video was about. I think it was like the most underrated wide receiver in the league, and it was of you. I found like a whole bunch of highlight tapes of even I put it together. But yeah, I went back and I was like, wow, that's crazy. Tim Patrick was my first, like, he was my first video. So
that's live, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on today's episode. I really do appreciate it. You know, obviously you, Jeudy, and all those guys in the offense are some of my favorite players. You, Jeudy, Javonte, easily my favorite players. And I really do appreciate you taking your time every day because I know you're busy with rehab and all that stuff. And you're just a busy guy in general. And I really do appreciate you, taking your time out of the day. Like you said, you're not going to go on any other podcast. And I'm going to take your word for that. But yeah, thank you for hopping on today, man. Seriously.
Of course. Y'all want one more question before I got to go?
Shoot. I don't know.
Cause I ain't doing this no time soon. OTA is coming around.
Trying to think if I have one. Nah, I don't have one. I got off everything I think I wanted to ask.
Okay, I got one last one. I completely forgot to bring it up. So this is kind of like a freebie. A lot of people have asked this. I've seen it on Twitter and stuff. Do you think some random, like, not a bum, but like some random person off the street could like go into the NFL and complete one pass for 5 yards?
One pass for 5 yards. It will have to be the other team has to be in the worst defense possible, and the offense has to have the best play possible for the worst defense possible for all of it to work. But honestly, probably not. I played quarterback one time in high school, and I was terrified. I never did it again.
Jordan, what do you think?
Man, no, man. Like, it's just crazy because you see all these things like people talking about, man, I could do that. I could go in there and catch that pass. I'm like, yeah, you say that until you running across that field and you think somebody finna stick you right across the middle of the field and you like, and you drop it, man.
Completing the pass is not the hard part. It's completing the pass while you got 300-pound linemen running at you. What makes it hard?
Yeah, full speed, and you just see one of them kind of coming at you.
You see him, and you're like, oh shit, you got to protect yourself now.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, see, here's my thing. I say yes, and here's why. I think if you can get enough practice, bro, don't do that face. If you can get enough practice and you do a jet pass,
we're doing practice now. We're doing practice.
We're
practicing for a challenge.
You can practice for like 5 minutes to do this play. If you got Jeudy on a jet pass, he's getting you 5 yards. And I didn't say which pass has to be.
All right. I'm thinking, so like I said, the worst defense has to be called possible.
Yeah.
Because there's time Jerry just got killed by a DN too. So like all of it, everything has to go as planned. And in football, that's rare. It happens like one play a game.
For sure. Yeah, realistically, it's probably not going to happen. I mean, with my mentality, I'm going out there going 5 for 5, 80 yards and a touchdown. But
yeah, okay.
They just need to start. They need to start like a fans league. a tackle fans league and just let them play and just see how it goes.
Yeah.
And then if you do good enough, you get a contract with the XFL. And then you go from there and see how it goes. And then if you do good enough there, you go to the league. But we'll see if anybody even makes it out of the fans league.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming on today's show. I really do appreciate you. If you guys are listening on YouTube, make sure you got to hit the like button and subscribe if you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you're over there listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, make sure you guys show love over there as well. Hit the follow button, 5-star rating. Let us know what you guys think and leave all your feedback on what you thought about today's episode and who you guys want to see on today's episode or future episodes with players, insiders, writers, whoever you guys want to have on the show. Obviously, the NFL draft coming up in late April. We're gonna have a lot, plenty of guests on to talk about the Broncos, who they could potentially be drafting in rounds 3 to 6 and who they want on. But yeah, it's Tim. Thank you so much for hopping on today's episode. I'm your host, Amir, with my coach, Jordan, and today's guest, Tim Patrick. Until the next one, peace.
Appreciate you guys. Did you read that off a script?
Nope, that was all off the top.
Okay, go ahead then, man. I'll talk to y'all boys.
Hey. All right, Tim.